whereas it wouldn't have been before 9/11.
Right. Well, they were all the people that attacked us were mostly all from Saudi Arabia,
That's right.
and so it was entirely the wrong country. Why didn't we go in there?
Saudi Arabia.
Right. Why didn't we go in there? And also, I like to think that on September 11th, we were attacked with our own faith in government, that we really, really believed that we were being protected by this, God, what is it, $60 billion a year? The NSA, the CIA, and the FBI have a huge amount of money every year, and they still couldn't protect us against 19 guys with $1 box cutters. They probably bought it to Pick and Save on the way to the airport.
Yes, but we fixed that, Mark. Since then, we've given all these agencies more money and
more money and more people. So it's like
being sarcastic.
Yes. Well, no, we did literally do that, and we have.
Well, that's the way government works. If you have a government failure, you can give the people who failed more money, and they'll fix it.
And they'll fix it. And the same people that couldn't protect us, have been rewarded by given more money to play with, more budgets, more power, more influence, the Patriot Act, et cetera, et cetera. It doesn't seem like we cleaned house at that point. I think that what we ought to do is place the NSA and the CIA under the umbrella of military intelligence, and that way it would eliminate redundant bureaucracies, we'd save a lot of money, and maybe that would help. That's what I'd like to see doing. It would also make them constitutional as well, because these things are performing something that should be performed by military intelligence. I mean, we should, if there are terrorists out there, and there are, I think we ought to be able to watch them, make sure they don't attack us, and succeed. But on 9/11, we didn't do that.
Well, whatever you say, Mark, I don't have any special expertise on rearranging the bureaucracies. I'm not sure libertarians are cut out for that kind of work, but
well, it would certainly make it smaller and hopefully more efficient, and it wouldn't. I think that one of the reasons that we were not protected was these are huge monolithic bureaucracies that have been unable to perform. I think there are things inherently wrong with bureaucracies, so they cannot succeed, and I think that's a very libertarian theme.
All right. Let's get back to Iraq, and I want to ask you a question. I know that you're the interviewer here, but
right.
Why are we still there? What is the reason for why are we still there, and is it a valid reason?
I think it goes back to the whole, what we were talking about at the beginning of this war, is that historians for thousands of years or hundreds of years after this will be arguing over what was the reason that we went in. It's the mystery war.
We've already talked about why we
don't know. So why we're still there?
Why don't we pull out now?
Is the same question.
What is the reasoning for why we can't pull out? That's what I want to get to.
Well, they're saying that there would be chaos. Well, there's chaos there now, and we pulled out of Afghanistan, and the chaos that ensued there was a civil war going on there now. After we pulled out, that didn't bother us then. Why would it bother us that there's chaos in Iraq? But we only have control of some very small areas around the large cities.
We're still in Afghanistan.
What?
We are still in Afghanistan.
Well, we pulled out much of our troops from Afghanistan.
So you're doing one of those, to quote Hillary, she would pull out immediately, but then 32 minutes later she stated that she'd leave 50,000 troops there to chase terrorists. So,
right.
So in other words, she's going to pull out and she's not going to pull out.
So she's
got it covered both ways.
She's always been for the war. It's only now that she's running for president that she is against it. She was for it all beforehand, all during it, and then she started to run for president, and now she's against it. So basically, that's a big problem as well, because if Hillary becomes, she will still be occupying that country. We'll still have troops in Iraq, which will still antagonize these people even further. Why do you think we're still there?
Well, I think you hit it on the head exactly, and that is that the people who are afraid to pull out are afraid that if we do, that there'll be chaos and a lot of Iraqis will be killing each other in a civil war. And but I'm in favor of pulling out right away, and why am I not concerned about that? It seems to me that the United States military cannot solve everybody's problems. And if the Iraqis have a problem with each other, it's better that they solve it between themselves than if we try to go and solve it for them. Because it seems to me that it's better that we not be killing the Iraqis, and that if the Iraqis are to be killed, at least it won't be by us. That would be my reasoning.
That's very true. We'd still be blamed for it, but it's just, you know, the region before Saddam was, it had various ethnic regions that were sometimes at odds with each other throughout history. And it seems that there'll probably be a civil war.
Well,
It'll break up into separate
libertarian
regions
think
again.
Tanks, namely the Independent Institute, who do have people that have been suggesting that Iraq be divided into 3 parts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have the Shias, the Sunnis, and the Kurds, and that the only reason that some people don't like that is because there's too much oil in the certain regions, and Sunnis wouldn't have any oil,
right?
Sort of thing. But that could be overcome. It seems to me that if people aren't getting along and that they're killing each other just because of sectarian and religious type disputes, that they shouldn't be in the same country. Now you have these what they call super Iraqi patriots who think that the country should be all in one, united and this sort of thing. Well, you know, I don't think it's our job to enforce that kind of solution. Keep in mind that Iraq historically was not one country in the first place, and the British stuck it together, right?
Yeah, and if it did break up into various regions again, those regions would become countries, and then they would have militaries and maybe attack each other anyway. So it wouldn't necessarily mean there's going to be peace. But the point is, we can't make there be peace. We can't fix it.
That's right. I think, you know, when George Bush ran originally, he said a more humble foreign policy. I think he needs to step up and make a more humble foreign policy by admitting that we can't solve the Iraqis' problems.
Yeah, we can't even solve our own problems. And then we go back to the cost. You know, the taxpayers are going to have to pay for this war. So a lot of people won't be sending their sons and daughters to college or won't be buying a home because of the cost of the war in Iraq. And let's say that we did succeed. Let's say there was a shining democracy there in 10 years. Would you rather send your daughter to college or buy a new home? Or would you rather there be a shining democracy in
yeah, that's right. I like to
Iraq?
kind of diffuse the arguments about sending the U.S. military hither and thither by saying, well, why don't you raise your own private army with your own willingly donated money and send your sons and daughters over there and not try to commandeer the United States military, which is supposed to be for the function of defending the United States.
And that is what we should be doing. We should be looking to make sure we should be spending this money instead on firstly finding the people responsible for 9/11, making sure that they don't have careers anymore in the future. We should be making sure that we have a better defense of this country against any kind of terrorist attack, which doesn't jeopardize our civil rights. And we should be working on, you know, how we failed on 9/11 to keep this from happening, and I don't think that we've done that at this point. Again, all we did is give more money to already bloated bureaucracies that failed horribly on 9/11. So anyway, that I think we'll end this discussion, and thanks a lot for coming out, Dan.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure talking to you as always. And for those of you out there who would like more information about the Libertarian Party, please go to www.lp.org, or you can give us a call at 1-800-ELECT-US, and we'll send you out a free packet of information. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Libertarian Alternative.
Don't give up.